All right, people, what the hell is going on? I guess I don't need these anymore. Oh man, I just got through taking me a walk. Oh, Bluetooth. Now I'm cutting my shit. I thought I was cutting this shit off. Now you can turn off. All right, here we go. I was walking in the last couple days. You know, you look up one goddamn video on YouTube and they figure that's all the fuck you want to see. So I've been inundated with Bryce Young on my YouTube. No more Elder Scrolls, Fallout, no none of that shit. No, motherfucker, all you want to see is Bryce Young. So, fuck it. And they don't show me nothing about the Houston Texans at all. Just fuck where you from. We ain't showing you no Houston Texans nothing. Houston Texans is 2-0. I ain't seen not one video. All the little news broadcasts and shit ain't saying shit about the Texans. So I guess that's a good thing. No news is good news, goddammit. But I've been inundated with this Bryce Young shit, and I kind of get it, but I don't watch the Carolina Panthers. You know what I'm saying? I don't watch the Carolina Panthers. All I can go by is, hey cat, all I can go by is what I see online. And you know what little highlights I might be able to see and all this other stuff. Last time I saw him play was against the Texans, and they beat us. He didn't suck that game. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing about them quarterbacks, they be having trouble. When they play the Texans, boy, they be on it. Desmond Ridder, you know, I don't know where the fuck he is now, but he ain't in Atlanta no more, but he torched the fuck out the goddamn Texans. And even Zach Wilson, in his rookie year, I think it was, they played against the Texans, torched the fuck out the goddamn Texans. You thought that motherfucker was in the league for 12 years. Torched the fuck out the goddamn Texans. And wasn't able to do shit other than that. That gets old. I like to see the Texans play veteran quarterbacks all the goddamn time. They played Chicago, and they did a job on Caleb Williams. So everybody didn't have that good luck against the Texans. Anyway, when I can't judge a book by its cover. I really can't, because I don't know people like that. But when I'm looking at the videos and I'm looking at the press conferences, I'm looking at I'm looking at this dude. He don't look like an NFL quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He look like that dude looked like the quarterbacks I played with in junior high school. I am not even trying to be funny. I'm not even trying to be funny when I say that. He looked like quarterbacks that I played with in junior high school. And about that size. And for somebody that size, I'm wondering how he made it through the combine and made it to the number 1 pick on his physical attributes. Now, if he made it all the way up to whatever he was playing, got to Alabama, did everything he did at Alabama, and get to the number 1 pick, you got to have something. You got to have something. And I put that on coaching. I really do. I put that on coaching. Why? Because I'm a Houston Texans fan, and I saw what fucked up coaching will do to your whole team. Not just the quarterback, your whole team. If you go back to that season before, we got CJ. And Davis Mills was starting that quarterback. And everybody gonna shit on Davis Mills. Every time I talk football, I always have Davis Mills always come out of my mouth. Davis Mills is a good goddamn quarterback. He is. Don't give a damn what nobody say. I've seen him play. And there was a reason why he sucked during that year when Lovie Smith was here. The whole team sucked that whole year. If you saw the offense that was running, It was Dookie. They benched him. They put in another quarterback. And the same thing happened. I mean, the exact same thing happened. Yeah, this man throwing pick sixes. He doing this. He doing that. We're going to bench him. Throw another quarter, whatever, some dude named Green, I think it was. Throw him in the game. Start him for a couple of games. Pick sixes. Same old bullshit. And the offense that was running, trying to run a platoon offense and all this other stuff with some bullshit ass running quarterback that don't never throw the fucking ball. And I'm just like, you know, it wasn't the players. You couldn't even blame the players on that. So I know what fucked up coaching will get you. Now you get somebody like Bryce Young, number 1 pick. Now, first of all, let me say this. And I heard this was brought up a couple times, and I've thought this on my own, that if CJ was taking number 1 and Bryce was taking number 2, you know what I'm saying, and he would have ended up here with the Texans, and CJ would have ended up out there, it wouldn't have been exactly the same 1-to-1, but CJ would have had trouble out there. You know why? Because that team was jacked up. You know what I'm saying? That team was jacked up from the start. The Carolina Panthers. If Bryce would have ended up here, would he have been good as CJ? Maybe, maybe not. But he wouldn't have gone through what he went through in Carolina. You know, going 2 and whatever the fuck they went. You know, he would have had some success. You know why? Because the team down here was built to win. You know what I'm saying? At least after a couple games, because CJ didn't have shit to work with the first couple games. Our whole offensive line was. But once they came back, you know what the Texans did the rest of the year. Carolina, they just sucked the whole way through until they played the Texans, and then, you know, of course they won. But, you know, it's the environment that you end up in. You know, is he a bust? No, he's not a bust. Bryce Young is not a bust. He's unfortunate because he got drafted by a team that he probably will never fit in with. You know, he wasn't gonna never fit in with that team. CJ came here and got hooked up with somebody that fits his skill set and what he likes to do. He ended up in the right situation. You know what I'm saying? That's just it. He ended up in the right situation. Not taking away from his performance, because you got to execute. But at some point, you get put in a position like Davis Mills did, and whoever else was on the team back when Lovie Smith was coaching. You get put in a situation where even if you execute, it ain't going to make no difference who the hell else is on the field. It's a reason why Nico Collins is a breakout receiver. Nico Collins looked like he been all world for the last 10 years. That shit started when that old coaching regime got out. Now all of a sudden, they're one of the top receivers in the league. That shit, he was always that. You got to end up with the right goddamn people. And people, and they trying to write this dude off, and I can see it. Like I say, I look at the dude. I'm like, do they have him on a weight program? Because he's been in the league a whole year plus some now. That dude is short, and I don't mean I mean short. Short. That means puny. His arms look like mine. My arms look like this because I'm fucking 50 years old. I ain't got to go around lifting weights and shit like that no more. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the guns and shit like I used to. You know? I ain't saying that he need to be out here looking like who had guns as a quarterback. They probably all got guns. You just can't see them. But, you know, I know David Carr, David Carr had some arms on him. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of somebody, they talking about getting ruined playing for a shitty team. Just imagine if David Carr would have ended up on a better team than the Texans. You think he probably have a career like his little brother? Nah, I can't think of that dude named Derek. You know what I'm saying? You know, Derek is considered one of the top QBs in the league. I think David was just as good. He got just, even more talented. He ended up on the Texans. Goddamn expansion team. He ain't had shit to work with. Setting records for getting sacked and shit. You know. Spending this whole goddamn career here getting. He could have ended up on another team. He got paid a whole lot of money, so he ain't missing on shit. But it's an unfortunate situation. He could have ended up on another goddamn team somewhere with a team that fit him better than the Texans did. I mean, he did okay after some years, but that's not what they talking about with Bryce. It was like, yeah, he's done, and they steady questioning whether you can't bench him and bring him back. Why the fuck not? Why you can't bench him and bring him back? Why the new coaching regime get in there after 2 games and be like, okay, well, we got to bench him. If you bench him, you got a plan. You know, you got these talking heads on these podcasts and these little broadcasts, they little fancy ass goddamn decorations on the screen and they little super chats and whatnot, and they just be running they goddamn, don't know what the fuck they talking about. You bench them, you got a fucking plan. You ain't benching them just to say, okay, sit your ass over there. We finna go do this over here. If you bench him, especially with what he been going through, you bench him to fix whatever's going wrong with him. Especially that's your number 1 pick. Okay, we gonna do what we should have did last year. You think that these people they do this? You know, you sitting around here yapping on your cameras and shit. This is what the fuck they do. They ain't always right. I mean, they pick the dude, so you know they not always right. Because I'm telling you right now, during that draft, you know, I was hoping that the Texans would like trade down. You know, they did something totally different than what I would have did. And obviously they made the right choice because they first and second and third, well, they first and second pick was both rookies of the year. So yeah, fuck what I know, because I wouldn't have picked CJ or because I don't watch college football. I'll end up only seeing a couple of clips of Will Levis, and I was like, kind of like that Will Levis guy. I'm like, you could trade that top pick, get a whole bunch of shit, and still be around to get him, and you can just stockpile a whole bunch of shit. That probably would have worked out. I think most quarterbacks would do good in the system we got here in Texas, including Bryce. But to say that you bench the dude and you can't bring him back, that's fucking stupid. If he that kind of a dum-dum, why the fuck how did that get past anybody? You know what I'm saying? You know, how did that get past anybody? If he that much of a dum-dum where you can't sit him down and be like, okay, we gonna just school him for a while. We're gonna sit him on the sideline so we can point out shit to him in real time. You know what I'm saying? Get him going through the game plan without the stress of trying to figure that shit out on the job. You know what I'm saying? Why can't they? Why ain't that what they doing? You know, these talking heads. Why is that? Why they can't be what they doing? Why they gotta be like, oh, they gonna sit him, they gotta get rid of him. He already shot. The fuck you mean he already shot? I think the guy's too small my goddamn self, but Mr. Football himself is not. Kyler Murray, they build is totally different though. I'm just saying, Kyler Murray looks like he fucking works out and he fast. I don't think Bryce Young has any of those attributes. Other than the lack of size, I don't think he has anything to redeem himself other than that. You know, 5 fucking whatever the fuck he is, 100 and whatever. I think somebody say 185. I don't know. But he is well below what you would want as a quarterback. I'm trying to figure that out. That even as a, you get all these front office people, these general managers and all this other stuff. A lot of those people who have been athletes in their life, you don't think something is funny when you go to see your potential number one pick as a quarterback and he only come up to your fucking shoulder? I know he got the big hand, whatever, but yeah, I mean, when he only come up to your fucking shoulder, you don't start to second guess that at least a little bit? Because even the short quarterbacks that we talk about in the league are 6 foot. You know what I'm saying? Very few are under that. And if you got somebody like that, which I had to, which is what I was talking about when, if he'd have ended up here in Houston, it would have been better for him. Because you know what? If you, I watched the Texans, so I would see this shit. But when they have to sub in different quarterbacks, the game plan changed. When they put Case Keenum in there, Case Keenum ain't the same kind of quarterback that CJ is. He started and boom, it didn't look nothing like nothing. I mean nothing. It was a totally different game plan. And then they had to start Davis Mills. You put him in now, he can do whatever, he can do whatever CJ do. So they call the game different. You got a quarterback that's undersized like that. Why you got him sitting in the pocket? Why you got him sitting in the pocket? I don't watch Russell Wilson much, but every time I see highlights of Russell Wilson, he always outside the pocket. Always outside the pocket. Why every time y'all show this man Bryce Young doing some shit, there's always some shit he ain't supposed to be doing anyway. If you running, you have to have your offense designed around your quarterback and his specific talents. The man obviously got some kind of talent if he can play at that level to be the number one goddamn pick. I was on a Division I team at Oregon State, so I know what size motherfuckers is. I'm 6'3". In college, I was about 250. I was a tight end. You know what I'm saying? And I'm around the goddamn offensive lineman, nigga. I'm puny as fuck compared to a bunch of them other. They're like shit. It was fine. It was fun not being the biggest dude on the field anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'm like looking up at all these motherfuckers. Now, if I'm looking up at all these dudes, and then you looking at him, and he way down here, what the fuck? And you got to think about it. Everybody that was his size, I went to Oregon State. It was a lot of quarterbacks his size. A lot. But they weren't pocket passers. They were all option quarterbacks. And you know what? Even though we was on at the time, that's what they did. They ran an option offense, which was dumb. But the funny thing about that was, didn't none of them play quarterback no more when they got there. All those little 5'10", 5'9", 180-pound motherfuckers that played quarterback in high school, and they got to college, and you know what they did? The first thing they did is switch their position. Quarterbacks that we did have were at least 6 feet, but they were fast though. The option quarterbacks, they was at least 6 feet, but they was fast though. It just, I don't get it. The dude is playing not out of his position, he's playing out of his scheme. If that's not some shit that's gonna work in NFL, fine. But I mean, for somebody of his stature, he ain't gonna have nothing else to do. You can't stick him back there as a return dude. He's not one of them type of quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? So he ain't got the speed to be switching positions and shit like that. And he ain't for to be no receiver, no shit like that. He ain't for no. He's a quarterback. Got to be able to find something for people like that to do. And I think that's what they about to do. You know, they go sit him. They finna scoot him up. They need to force feed this nigga some protein or some shit. And if he gonna be that short, if he gonna be 5'10", they need to put him up close to around by 200 pounds. You know what I'm saying? It's just I don't know how else to put it. If you're gonna be that short, you gotta be strong. You just can't be some puny ass kid looking dude. Because like I said, I look at him in the press conferences and shit. I'm looking at him he don't look like an NFL player. And I was watching some shit, and Keyshawn Johnson was saying about the same thing. You know what I'm saying? He's just small. You know, there's very few people with that kind of, at his stature, his height, you know, can be successful. And you bring in somebody like Kyler Murray, who's, they say, is about the same height. But Kyler Murray, he built different. You know what I'm saying? You see, he got the big bottom and all kind of shit. You could tell that motherfucker's strong. You know, he fast. And apparently, he another motherfucker that, you know, obviously he got something, because hell, he a Texan like me, you know what I'm saying? So he down here in Texas playing football and ain't lost not one goddamn game, I don't think, from whenever he started up and through college or some shit like that, some ridiculous ass shit where he only lost like one game or some shit. That is ridiculous. It is. That is ridiculous. But he got there for a reason. He able to play. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody talking about benching him and all that kind of shit. You got to have him in the right situation, man. You got to find his skill set, which you should already know. If he was having this kind of success at Alabama, okay, what was Alabama doing? Maybe we need to run some Alabama plays. Because everybody else from Alabama doing all right. Well, mostly. Mostly. You know, and who is it? Is Daniel Jones from Alabama? He ain't doing all that great, but he got a big ass country. He did something for at least a little while. He got paid. You know what I'm saying? He got paid, so he was doing at least a little something for a little while. You know, a lot of his trouble might be because he on a shitty team in the NFL. He quarterback. He gonna get blamed for it. Same way Bryce. You know, they gave up all this shit for blah, 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 and all this other stuff. Well, that ain't Bryce's fault. That's a team fault. If they gave up a bunch of capital to get him and then don't have nothing for him to work with, well, that's not his fault. And if you now you brought in some talent here to kind of solidify the situation, well, shit, this is a brand new head coach. Brand new system. So this man got to learn a whole new goddamn system and all this and implement that shit in his head and get that shit working. You got to think about that shit too. This man got to learn a whole new goddamn system, terminologies, and all this other kind of stuff. And because you know all these coaches got their shit, which is part of the problem. All the coaches got their shit. They want to do shit their way, but they don't take into account who they got playing for them. You know what I'm saying? Who we got playing for them? Okay, this is a quarterback I got. You know, this is why a lot of the coaches want they guys. You know what I'm saying? They have their guys they want, you know, but that's not what you got. You have to be flexible as a goddamn coach. If what you got, you know what I'm saying? You can't be crying about the hand you dealt. You got to play that shit. You know, and it's a certain way you play certain hands. You just can't play every hand the same goddamn way. You got a certain hand. All right, fuck it. This is what I got to do. We got Bryce Young. Let's do some sprint outs. You know what I'm saying? Let's do some quick throws and all this other shit. You know, you implement a bunch of that shit and everything else will line up after that. When he have to throw the ball goddamn downfield, make sure that it ain't no goddamn 7-foot tall lineman sitting up there in front of him. Move the pocket. I know you can do it. I've seen it done. I've seen pass plays where they'll do a rollout. Blue. He'll the fucking quarterback will sprint out in either direction. You know, sprint out to the right. Bloop, bloop, bloop. You know, sprint out to the right. And the whole goddamn offensive line move like that. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it done, so I know it can be done. Yeah, but sprint out. Get the motherfuckers on the goddamn move. Have you guys running double crossing routes and flies and posts and all that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not hard to do, man. If I can sit here and throw this shit out here like that, then, you know, fuck. Now, if you got a dumb quarterback who can't read the defense, there ain't really much you can do about that. You know what I'm saying? I at that point, I'm out of my depth. I play tight end. I don't know. I run a route. I either sit or I run the whole fucking route. That's all the fuck I know. Because that's all I had to fucking do. You know what I'm saying? That's all I know, so that's all I had to do. If, you know what I'm saying? If a motherfucker fall back, turn around, ball coming. You know? If a motherfucker try to boop, get on top of him. You know? It's not that hard. You know, your quarterback, you got to think about all that shit. Then you got to see all that shit too for everybody. Can he do that? I don't know. Is it a Tim Tebow situation? That's another quarterback I've seen. I can't tell you what was wrong with Tim Tebow. Every time I've seen him play, he looked pretty goddamn good to me, but I'm not in Denver. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't in Denver. I seen one playoff game. I think I seen him play twice. I know one of them was a playoff game that I think they won. But other than that, why can't he make it? I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. That's an honest ass question right there. I'm just like, well, why can't he make it? You know what I'm saying? If he could, it's because people aren't. I mean, you're not fit to run some wishbone offense where your quarterback is running the ball like a running back all the goddamn time. I ain't talking about the scrambling shit that you might see Jalen Hurts or what's his face. He probably would have been more like a Josh Allen. I think he's not as tall as Josh Allen. He probably would have been something like that. You know, it just that's what if I'm imagining shit right. I don't know. It might have been his throwing style because I know I like the way he threw the ball, but I think the way he threw the ball was too slow. It looked like he was throwing a brick, like it wouldn't know just kind of like I would throw the goddamn ball, or somebody like Randall Cunningham. Randall Cunningham had a wind-up. He could throw that motherfucker for a mile, but it just long ass arms. You take a while to whip that shit out of there. That's why they try to teach you how to do shit, which fucks up a lot of folks. I mean, you have to at a certain point with certain people in their delivery. Some people have a weird ass throwing style where they might throw the ball like this instead of like this. And I'm like, I mean, that's how that dude throw. You might as well try to get him throw the ball fucking left-handed. If he throw funny, well, you need to put him in situations where that funny ass throw work, because it didn't work all the way up until this point. Let the quarterback do what he do. Same thing with Bryce Young. Let that man do what he do. That means you got to do some research. Go pull up some old game tape from college, high school, or whatever the fuck you got to do. You know what I'm saying? And build your offense around him. You know, like I say, unless he turn out to be a dum-dum, then, you know, ain't nothing you can do about that. That's what they said about fucking CJ. With the test scores and all kind of stuff like that. And, you know, I can't say I was thinking no different. I'm like, well, I mean, if he scored that low on the goddamn test, then shit. Whether it was some shit he cared about or not, and I'm like, damn, bro, you didn't even try. You know, I'm a football player, not a test taker. I think he said some shit like that. I'm like, bro, that's the same kind of shit. Like, literally, that's the same kind of shit that had my ass in remedial math in college. You know what I'm saying? That's the same kind of shit that had me in remedial math when I got to college, because they stuck us in some room and had us take these goddamn tests and didn't tell us what the fuck they was. Nigga, we in there going ABC on the little Scantrons way back in the day. You know, we just in there marking whatever down there. They probably thought they had a whole goddamn team full of retards. You know, I didn't know it was an entrance exam. I'm like, what the fuck is this? We'll just wake a motherfucker up in the morning, stick him in a room and have him take a test and don't tell him what it is. I'm like, come on, man. At least let me know what the hell I'm taking. Like, this is the entrance exam. This is how we gonna figure out what classes to give you. Okay. Maybe I need to take this shit a little bit serious. But that's the thought I had about CJ when he got here. Listening to him talk didn't help none either. But that's just me being 50. You know, me being 50 and listening to some 20-something-year-old dude talk, they all sound dumb to me. They just do. Same thing with Bryce. When I watched some of the press conferences they were having me and they was asking them questions and shit like that, and I'm just like literally, I'm shaking my head like, bruh, gee, you sound real stupid right now. You just, especially that shit that he said by him drawing his what the hell, his confidence from the Lord. Man, shut the fuck up. We asked you something about football. We ain't asked you nothing about Jesus, bro. Just if you ain't got nothing to say, just say I ain't got nothing. I ain't got no reply for that. Like, literally, just say you ain't got no reply for that. Don't nobody want to hear nothing about you and Jesus. That's your business. Like one of them guys said, yeah, that's fine, but you know, Jesus ain't for to come out there. You know, he said God ain't for to come out there and play football for you. So, well, you better get your confidence from somewhere. And it's true, because I'm like, ain't nobody asked you about that. Same, who asked you football questions? You know, we ask you football questions. You know, you deflect everything, and that's what you get when you talk to people. When especially these talking heads, and they listening to these general managers and these owners and these players, you know, at these press conferences, blah blah blah. Why are you even? They taking all that shit at face value. You know they not gonna tell you shit. You know this. You know, I'm watching, you know, like I said, my YouTube is full of it. And it's just like, man, all y'all the same way, you little Carolina fans, and I guess it'd be like that when your team is poop, because trust me, I know. But I'm like, man, what you expect for them to say? They not for to tell you jack. What's going on behind the scenes? You might as well just ask them to open up their fucking playbook and just start, you know, flipping the pages on camera. Shit. They're not for to tell you no shit going on behind the goddamn scenes. They gonna tell you some shit that's gonna have you sitting there thinking, and you gonna be like, well, shit, they ain't saying nothing. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. They gonna tell you some shit that you didn't ask for. You know, well, you know, we not gonna, you know, he's our quarterback and blah blah blah, and then the dude get benched the next day, and then, well, shit, well, you said he was your quarterback, blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's the coach telling you that, but you know this shit didn't happen from him by itself. You got the owner and you got the general manager, whoever else they got to talk to, you know, as a committee, to be able to say, okay, we gonna sit him. That man probably thought he was gonna be the quarterback. You know, that's when he said it, that was probably his guy. That's what he thought. Then, you know, that night or whenever the fuck they had some kind of goddamn meeting and be like, okay, well, shit. We got to sit him. You know, but like I said, it ain't like they sitting him just to sit him there and not do nothing about whatever the hell been going on for the last season and 2 games. They sent him to fix that shit. You know, I don't think those people are oblivious to the fact that, you know, that you can ruin players and shit by leaving them out there and letting no. You put another quarterback, because what happens? Like I said, when they was it Trent Green or whatever? No, it wasn't Trent Green. I forgot the other quarterback they put in down here when they benched Davis Mills. You put Andy Dalton in there, Houston guy, and the Red Rocket. The dude's name is actually a red goddamn dog dick, man. That is weird. But anyway, somebody call me the Red Rocket. I'm like, nah, I don't give a damn if I am a ginger. You got to call me something else. Red Rocket has a totally another meaning that I ain't trying to be dealing with right now. Because you know it's somebody out there calling them dog dick. It's just, I am not the only motherfucker. I am not. But anyway, you put Andy Dalton in there for however many games that you go put Andy Dalton in there, and you don't get no success. Well, that's your litmus test right there, baby. It ain't the quarterback. If you stick him in there and it's the same shit, you know what I'm saying? Now, I doubt it's going to be like it was here in Houston when they put that whatever green dude in there who was at one point a good quarterback. I think he had injuries and shit. You know, from what I saw him play here, he didn't look like a bad quarterback. But like I say, the system he was playing in was dookie. So, I mean, he was on his, you know, so much he can do. But like I said, the exact same things that had happened to the starting quarterback happened to the backup quarterback. And when I say the exact same thing, the 2 games. And then they put the starting quarterback back in. And started doing some other bullshit that didn't work. This just, that's what they're going to have to figure out. We're going to put another quarterback in here and see if that's actually the problem. You know, if that's the problem, we finna figure that shit out right now. If you're going to do it, you might as well do it now. They know they don't have a team that's going nowhere. So if you're going to bench the guy and stick somebody else in there to see what the problem is, then okay. Because one of the guys I was listening to said, you know, they had a call come in and say, yeah, you can't evaluate your other talent with Bryce Young out there. Well, at this point, yeah, that might be true. You know what I'm saying? If him sucking, you know, keeps you, because you can't evaluate the players that have to go downfield to make their living. You know what I'm saying? All those people that depend on the quarterback, you can't tell if they doing their goddamn jobs or not most of the time. You know, so they gonna have to see that. See what's the problem. Like I say, if they sitting him, they got a plan. They not just sitting them willy-nilly. You know, they got a plan. See what's going on with them. If you got somebody like that, he have to have some kind of talent. He has to. You know, it's easy for me to say that because, like I said, I don't watch Carolina. All I can do is base it off of the shit that I've seen go on with the Houston Texans and secondhand through other teams throughout the news and shit like that. You know, somebody like Zach Wilson. Well, as far as I can tell, Zach Wilson always can't get right. He has some other kind of shit going on coming into the league. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I said, when they played against the Texans way back then, he didn't have no goddamn problems that night because they came down here and torched the Texans up at home. So yeah, man, everybody had their goddamn moments, I guess. Goddamn. But that's all I know on Bryce Young. I'm kind of glad they benched him, so everybody could shut the fuck up. Well, actually, it started everybody to talking, but it needed to happen because you got to start the rebuilding at some point. You know what I'm saying? You gotta start the rebuilding at some point. This is a young dude. He ain't gonna be able to handle being on the field, you know what I'm saying, and having to deal with the media and shit like that. I could tell that just from the press conference. Yeah, he don't know how to talk through that shit. You know what I'm saying? A couple of years from now, he'd have been and got coached up on that where he can go out there. They'll ask him a bunch of questions. He'll say some shit and be off like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Just all right, bye. You know, he just look uncomfortable out there while people. He looked like he in the principal's office. And you know they gonna ask him a bunch of weird ass goddamn questions. Like I'm like, dude. I mean, I don't know what the fine is if you don't show up for that shit, but you can show up for that shit and not answer the goddamn questions. Like for real. Well, I don't know if you can or not, but you know, but you can go up there and they can ask you a whole bunch of questions. You can just defer. You know what I'm saying? That's what everybody do anyway. They say a bunch of cliched ass shit that don't mean nothing. And then they off to take their ass home after the game. You know, that's at least most people do. Some people don't give a fuck. They like that shit. Most players, you know what I'm saying, they get up and they already got the little nothing ass shit that you say like when they talk to the coach. The coaches already know. The coaches already know. There's a few coaches out there that'll give everybody the business. They'll tell you whatever the fuck you need to know. You know, it's a few. I seen a couple of them. I'm like, damn, he don't give a fuck, do it. And then there's a bunch of coaches that get out there and they'll just, like D'Amico Ryans with the Texans. You ain't finna get shit out of him. You not. Who's starting next week? You'll find out next week. You know what I'm saying? He ain't finna tell you shit about what's going on, you know, behind the goddamn scenes and no shit. Like, you ain't finna get nothing if it ain't something that was already out front and in the open. You know what I'm saying? That's all you finna get. And you might not get much on that. The same thing with when Lovie Smith was here. Ask him a whole bunch of questions. Boy, I swear that man didn't answer a goddamn thing. I know he say some shit after the question, but I mean, goddamn, you ain't even answered none of the goddamn question at all. But that man been around for I don't know how goddamn long, so he know. You know what I'm saying? He know. They gonna come up there and ask you a bunch of stuff. You got the few little lines that you say after certain questions that don't mean nothing, and then you get up out of there. You go back to take care of your business elsewhere. Because folks want to hold you accountable to every goddamn thing. I think that's kind of part of the problem. All these fans and all this other stuff, they want to run these goddamn teams. I mean, you pay to go to the games and all this other stuff and watch. You pay to watch these people play football. You do not pay to run the team. You know what I'm saying? Your ticket is not stock in the team where you get that quarterly vote. You know what I'm saying? No, this is not what that is. You pay to come and watch and support the goddamn team in that way. You know, that's where the fans get it, because most of the fans don't have no idea what they're talking about. That's what got me making this goddamn video right now, was watching a bunch of those podcasts and shit, and I'm like, okay, this is a regular dude podcast right here. This ain't some new shit where it's like NFL professional athletes, you know, behind some desk, you know, in the studio somewhere, giving their little 2 cents on the thing. No, these is motherfuckers sitting at home like me right now with a big ass mic, you know, doing a little podcast or whatnot, and I'm just, There we go. And they just dead. And half the stuff that come out of their mouth is just ridiculous. And I know everybody got their opinion, just like I got my own opinion. It really don't mean shit because, you know, them people in the front office and them coaches on the field gonna do what they gonna do. It don't matter what the fuck you think. I think they should let them play out the season. Why? Why? You know what I'm saying? If it's a problem that needs to be fixed, take him out, see what's going on. You know, sometimes you have to do that. You gotta give it a smell test. You gotta take top off. All right, well, this bad metaphor, but you know what I'm saying. This is the backup quarterback. You gotta let's see what's going on. You're not going nowhere. You're not going to the playoffs. They know that. You got time. You know what I'm saying? One dude was talking about, you put down Dalton in there, he wins 6 games. They ain't not gonna re-sign him. That's not the fucking point. You know what I'm saying? If Andy Dalton getting re-signed is not the fucking point. You know what I'm saying? The point is seeing what's wrong with the offense in general. You know what I'm saying? That means first thing you got to do is figure out what's wrong with your goddamn quarterback. If there's anything wrong with the quarterback at all. You got to put another piece in there and see what that other piece do. Which is still kind of iffy because you know how the NFL is. You're not playing against the same people every week. You know what I'm saying? You're not playing against the same people every week. Goddamn Texas ran for I don't know how many goddamn yards against the Indianapolis Colts in week 1. And them boys just ran right up that fucking, just ran them right the fuck over. Fucking Mixon had 159 goddamn yards. You know? Week 2, they played against the Chicago Bears. Yeah, that shit didn't happen. Nigga, they was stuffing the fuck out the goddamn run. They was stuffing the fuck out the goddamn run. Because the Chicago Bears got an actual goddamn defense. Texas didn't look good on offense or defense in that game. They didn't. They did not. They did just enough to hit a whole bunch of 50-yard field goals. That was it. They scored one goddamn touchdown. And a bunch of long 50-yard field, damn near, did he hit a 61-yard or some shit? That's, luckily you got a kicker that can do that. But that's what won the game for him. You got all these receivers and shit on the team. You gonna have some big plays every so often, but they didn't hardly do anything with them big plays except for on that one goddamn drive. You got Diggs and Collins and fucking Dale and goddamn the 2 tight ends they got and all that, man. Everybody they get the ball to can do shit. It's just, that's how the team is built. And it happened a couple of times during the game, but not enough to where they didn't have to punt or kick a fucking field goal. So, yeah, I mean, they show flashes throughout the game, but they didn't sustain nothing. Is C.J. Stroud done? You know what I'm saying? Is he done now? Because he played a legit defense. Just luckily, I think if they'd have had anybody else, if the backup quarterback, I don't know who their backup quarterback is. I seen him in preseason. If he'd have started that game, Chicago would have won. Tell you that right now. If they backup quarterback would have started that game instead of Caleb Williams, Chicago would have won that game. You know what I'm saying? Because Caleb didn't have a good game. Apparently he didn't have a good game the first one. They're going to be talking shit about him. The big thing about him is that, okay, he a rookie. He a rookie. This is his first goddamn season. So he going to have those growing pains at least for a little bit. But He has the attributes. I don't know what his size is, but I know goddamn well he ain't no 5'10". I know damn well he ain't no goddamn 185 pounds. I watched that dude run. It's hard to bring that dude down. And he got sacked like 6-7 times during that game, and he got out a couple of them. And he ran He ran out of one where I was fussing at the dude. I'm like, how the fuck did you not tackle that dude? And they showed the replay. Caleb Reeves was there, ran right up out his shirt. Just imagine if somebody tried to tackle you and you try to run away from them and they grab your shirt. Nigga, you ain't going nowhere. You not going nowhere. Us regular folks. Man, that motherfucker Daniil Hunter went trying to grab that dude and he grabbed his fucking shirt. And I didn't see that on the play, but man, he ran right up out. Well, he didn't run out the shirt, but the shirt ripped. Kind of almost like it wasn't quite it wasn't like Earl Campbell where motherfuckers grab Earl Campbell jersey and shit, and he'll run and that bitch just ripped right off of him. He wanted nothing but half a jersey. It wasn't like that. The jerseys are kind of tough. It was a shirt he had on under this. I think it might have been heavier than this t-shirt, but not by much. And you know you can rip these motherfuckers, but still, even this, you just take off running and your shirt just goes rip. That's not something normal people can do. So you know that dude is strong as shit. That is not something that if you grab fucking Bryce Young's shirt, he falling the fuck down. You just yank him, he falling down. He ain't running off of no tackles like that. Now somebody that might be undersized, maybe. I don't know if Jalen Hurts is undersized, but he looks short out there. But that dude is strong as fuck. And he'll Texan. You know, so but he's strong as hell. You know, just that type of stuff. He don't have those attributes. He just don't. He don't have that redeeming factor. We're like, okay, Caleb Williams got this right here. After a few games, he'll be able to sit in the pocket if he can't already. A few people said that he got problems reading defenses and shit like that. I'm like, well, y'all got to teach him that shit. You know what I'm saying? It just I don't know what motherfuckers be doing in college football and shit like that. But I'm like, you got to be able to teach him that shit. If that's what y'all do, I think that's basic knowledge for everybody on the field that gets the ball has to be able to recognize coverage to some goddamn degree, because a lot of your reads and shit is based off of that and your routes. So you have to know, look and see what kind of coverage motherfuckers might be in, so you know what the fuck to do and where the fuck to go. If he can't recognize that shit, then we got problems. Now, with Bryce Young, well, I can see what a lot of people have brought up the point that he can't see the safeties, which make fucking sense. If you 5'10", 5'11", whatever the fuck size he is, and you got these big 6'5", 300-something pound linemen in front of you, even if they crouch down, you can't see above them. And then you got people on the opposite side of the ball that's just as big, if not taller, because you know they a lot of them they draft like that. The defensive ends and shit like that, the people that they put to rush the quarterback, and them dudes be like 6'7", 6'8", and all kind of weird ass shit. And their whole job is to push the linemen back as far as they can and do this shit. Like J.J. Watt. That stint he had where he was just swatting passes everywhere. For some reason, you don't see that shit these days. But, you know, J.J. Swat. He just plop, plop, try to throw the ball. Whap, whap. Why I don't know why I don't still see that shit. You know, but I only see it when it happens to our quarterback. I do. I only see the shit when it happens to our quarterback. I'm like, can we please have our linemen hold their goddamn hands up when they. If you can't get back there, throw your hands up, swat the ball, jump, shit. But if you're short like that, then yeah, you at a goddamn disadvantage. Like I said, sprint outs, roll outs, all that shit. You know, you got to get him out the pocket to where he can see downfield. You know what I'm saying? You got to have to where he can get downfield. You got to fix the shit. Is that what they doing? They sit that dude down so they can revamp a part of the playbook to accommodate this guy. They doing something. I don't know what it is, but they are doing something. They not just sitting the dude for him to sit there and stew in his own juices for a couple games until they stick him back in. They take him out the game. They got a plan. It's stupid if you don't. You know what I'm saying? It's stupid if you don't. What I'm thinking is gonna be like a bunch of the other. I don't know. Let me see. Because you don't see this a whole lot these days. You know, sometimes you'll see the backup quarterback relaying in plays and whatever the fuck he doing. I don't know exactly what they doing, but they got the headset on and they got the clipboard and shit. A lot of times with the Texans, you don't see that. You see them talking and shit on the sideline and stuff like that. But I've seen backup quarterbacks when they on the sideline, especially if it was a starter quarterback. You know what I'm saying? If it was a starter quarterback that wasn't playing, motherfucker he had like some headphones on and some kind of apparatus in his hand, you know what I'm saying, blah, 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 and going through all this other shit like the rest of the coaches on the sideline. I don't know if they gonna do that, but I was about to say I would hope I wasn't gonna say that that's what's gonna have happen, but that's what you want to see. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want to see. If you're gonna bitch that dude, don't have him just on the side of the sideline watching the fucking game. You know what I'm saying? If he just on the sideline and y'all planning on getting him back in there, if y'all coaching him up, put his ass to work on the sideline during the fucking game. Whatever that job is where he had relaying plays in and out, or whatever the fuck it is he doing, keeping track of whatever the fuck, have him doing that shit. Where he's involved in the game. You know what I'm saying? Where he's involved in the game. The play calling, looking on the field, seeing what's being done. It's kind of like, you know, okay, this is what's being done. You know, because you at this point, you done been out there. You get to see another quarterback in your position doing shit. You know what I'm saying? You get to look at shit from the outside looking in. During the game, not during the film session, but during the fucking game. Give you a different perspective on shit. You know? It's got to work. It's not going to work if you got him doing the same thing. But, I mean, you have to adjust shit. And you have to see what they adjust. If they take Andy Dalton to stick him in there, or is the play calling going to be the same as it's been the last couple of weeks? Or are you going to switch the game up because you got a different quarterback in there? You know, I would say that that's kind of not fair, but I mean, if you're sticking a different quarterback in there, I'm pretty goddamn sure that their skill sets is not 1-to-1. If you want Andy Dalton to come in there and be successful, well, you got to change up the playbook at least a little bit. I don't think you're going to have him. I don't know what Andy Dalton can do, to tell you the truth. I don't think they call him the Red Rocket so he could be, you know, running bootlegs and shit like that. I don't think I've ever seen that. But anyway, I think he'll have, it's a better downfield view for him. You know what I'm saying? It'd be a better downhill view for him, because I don't think I don't know what his size and attributes are, but I don't think, not being able to send over linemen was one of his problems. I don't. If you playing in the league and you got a nickname, motherfucker, you done some shit right. You know what I'm saying? If you playing in the league and you got a nickname, yeah, you done did some shit right, at least for a little while. And they gonna see. That's my deal. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. I don't. When Sundays run around and I turn on my Hulu and little games come on, Carolina is very likely not to be on any other games I can watch. So I would have to see what happens on the highlights. And of course, there's going to be plenty of cameras on the sideline. There's going to be more cameras pointing towards the sideline than it is on the goddamn game. Every time something happens on the field, even on defense and special teams, they going to have the goddamn camera on Bryce Young on the sideline doing whatever it is he's doing. I'm like, bro, the game is over here. Come on. Eyes on the field. Y'all know how that shit is. You watching the game, and I'm like, why are we looking at him, man? The game is over here. Come on now. I hate that. I was watching the Eagles game. I'm watching the Eagles game. And every time you turn around, they got the camera on A.J. Brown. Like, this dude is hurt. He gonna be hurt. He gonna be out for a couple of weeks. Why the fuck are y'all? You got a fucking strained hamstring or some shit. Why the fuck is y'all got the camera on this dude right here? Every time I turn around, A.J. Brown is just standing on the sideline minding his business. He ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? He just there watching the game, chilling. But every time, you know it's gonna be like that during the goddamn Carolina games. This camera will always be on Bryce Young. Like, what the fuck you looking at, man? Just don't look at me. Look at the game. Why you looking at me? I'm not even playing, man. What the hell? I mean, you wouldn't know. Goddamn cameras be way on the other side of the field, focused in right on you. That's why you can't do shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't do shit. He can't be sitting on the sideline. He can't, he'll have to do that shit. I mean, even if he talking to somebody minding his own goddamn business, he gotta do this shit right here when he talking to people on the sideline, because motherfuckers will start putting words in your mouth, matching up your lips and shit. You can be over there talking about goddamn Tostitos and Oreos or any other goddamn O's, and ain't no telling what they like. It looked like he said this and blah 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 blah. You could be over there excited, talking about some shit that ain't got nothing to do with football, and they'll be like, he was on the sideline and he looked like he was agitated about something. You could have been telling somebody about somebody fucking up your order at Taco Bell. You know what I'm saying? You could have, you be on the sideline. You ain't always talking about football if you're not playing. You talking to somebody, y'all can be talking about anything. So yeah, you could have to deal with that shit. Yeah, you gotta cover your mouth when you're talking to people. You put one of them damn hoodies on, put a mask on. I wonder why the coaches don't do that. I get sick of this shit. I get, blah, blah, blah. They get the little paper, and then when they start talking into it, like, motherfucker, get a mask. You know what I'm saying? Just get a mask, and you can pull that motherfucker down the hill so you can goddamn breathe. So you ain't got to keep doing this shit. And you can get a mask with the fucking team logo and all that shit on it. Depending on where you're playing, it might be too hot for that. But especially during the wintertime, shit, hell yeah. You can hear with them fucking boom mics outside your fucking headsets. Because a lot of those things have slits in them so you can breathe. Because they not for, filtering purposes. Yeah, why don't you put one of those masks on and just have it down underneath your nostrils so you ain't have trouble breathing. So you can talk and not have to cover your mouth Well, you don't have to worry about people trying to steal your signals and all kind of shit like that. Just, I don't know. That's something that just popped in my mind. It popped in my mind a while ago, but I'm just, you know, they always got the goddamn cameras on the coaches, and that's all they doing. I'm like, don't they get old? Wouldn't you want to just be able to fucking just talk and not have to worry about that shit? You know, the cheap ass mask, put that bitch on and have that bitch under your nose like everybody wear their mask anyway. At least at places where you're supposed to wear a mask, I mean, and they had a mask on, but it'd be like right underneath their goddamn nose. I'm like, that kind of defeats the purpose of wearing the mask if your whole nose is gonna be out. You know what I'm saying? It's just that kind of defeats the purpose. But then again, you know, whatever. I guess motherfuckers want to be comfortable. I don't know. Everybody got a different level of comfort. Bryce Young put a mask on. So when you talking on the sideline, goddamn it, and people won't be saying you over there talking about people mommy and shit like that. Look, I said no such thing. Look, we was reading your lips. You said fuck that nigga in his ass and his mama too. You read your lips when you said it. I don't know. I wish I could just come up with another sentence that sounds like that, but you get my goddamn point. But anyway, that's my goddamn Bryce Young talk for now. I'm usually talking about the Texans, but apparently ain't nothing happened newsworthy with the Texans, which is fine. Which is fine. I'm not gonna complain about that. The Texans look great, you know, as far as what I expect from them. I've seen them throw the ball okay, and I've seen them run the ball okay, and they held up well. The offense did look pretty poopy against Chicago, which so I've heard they got that's a pretty stout defense. So yeah. And ain't nobody really talked about that. Anytime somebody mentions something about that game, it's all been about Caleb. So whatever. You can have all the goddamn attention as long as the Texans keep winning. I don't even know who the Texans play next week. I do not know. I'd have to check the schedule and see what the hell. But that's it for now. I will catch y'all on my next Talking Texans. This will just be talking football. My next Talking Texans when something interesting happens with the Texans, because just day-to-day shit, yeah. It is what it is.